What's up, y'all? So, I just got a message from one of my alumni. She was an intern here and then worked here a little bit afterwards back in 2009. And she asked this question. Hi, my name is blank. I don't know if you remember me, but I was an intern at SEER around 2009. I always read your blog posts. I find them extremely insightful and on point. Thank you. And she goes ahead and it goes, in spite of everything that's going on, leaders in my company have been asking what they can do to support people of color, particularly black people in the workplace. This is a young black female. And she says that they want to take accountability for the lack of diversity in leadership. I wanted to know from a business owner's leader's point of view, what is an appropriate versus inappropriate ask? Thanks for your help, blank. I love the fact that she sent me this question. For so many reasons, but I'm going to start with the first one. Is it's like this is the kind of person you want to hire, right? Because what she did is she reached out instead of staying in her own circle and being like, "This shit's messed up. We should ask for all these things." She's saying, "Let me first try to gain the perspective of a business owner or somebody that's in a position of having a lot going on top of all that's just recently happened with the reawakening in America about the fact that racism is still alive and well." Loved that because it's going to enable her to make a stronger argument to whomever it is she's making the pitch to, because she took the time to get out of her own circle and say, let me go talk to someone. And I haven't heard from this person in probably seven years or so. All right. So she and I go back and forth and I go, all right, well, give me your most aggressive asks and then I'll give you my sentiment on them. And the first one is required anti-bias training every year for leaders and employees, specifically focusing on racism against black employees in a retail and corporate setting. Recommend an outside black consultant or firm that has a well-known track record, blah, 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 blah. All right, so I don't feel like this is a crazy ask. If a company is already saying, we want to do more, then I think it's a pretty legitimate ask to say, hey, I think it starts with training and understanding of different people's perspectives. Another thing that I would do is I love it when my team members bring me issues, but also say, I care enough about this issue to be an active part of the solution. So person X, one of the things that I would say to you is offer what you're willing to do to be a part of the solution. So say, hey, I don't run this whole corporate entity, but I am willing to, in my area, do a lunch and learn kind of thing where we just talk about these issues and make it a safe place for people to be honest about how they feel and to share different perspectives. And that way you're saying, I'm willing to put in my lunch break once a week to get a group of people together to talk about these things. That's what I can control here. I can ask the local folks that I work with for their time. But ultimately, as a corporate leader, I would hope that you would encourage that on the way down. Second thing she's asking for. Within the hiring process, make it a requirement that hired managers or leads have a known and respected track record of working with diverse racial groups. I think that's really hard. How is somebody going to prove that? That would be the first thing I would say to you is how can I prove, because there's black folks who aren't really good at diverse conversations and there's white folks who aren't really good at those, and brown and all our different colors. So I ask you, well, how would you expect me to know that somebody's got that track record on the way in? And then what does that track record look like? Is it somebody who's promoted black and brown people more? I think you got to come with a little bit more of a feel on what that looks like. Otherwise, it's such a large and nebulous ask that even if I wanted to help, I don't even know where I would start. So it's your job, because it's something you care about, to help grease the wheels and say, hey, here's a place where you might be able to start. What I would say is you could say something like, hey, in the interview questions, is it possible or even legal for you to ask somebody questions related to their involvement in community organizations, right? Like that might be a trigger that, hey, this person cares about people who are not necessarily just like them, or they're in groups of people where they are doing things to support their communities. I think that might be an early, easier one than like, what have you specifically done for black or brown people? Might be pretty hard to ask in an interview. Last one. Emailing the general list when a position becomes available or when a position is vacant that needs to be filled, allowing everyone to apply and interview as long as the employee meets the requirements of the position, regardless of if they have received official endorsement from their direct manager. I think that's a pretty legit ask. I think companies should post jobs internally and encourage employees to apply for them, even if their manager is not necessarily on that same page with them. I also think it's incumbent on an organization to do like mini trainings on how to help you to get those opportunities. At SEER today, not when you were here, and it was only like 7 of us, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but we have universal role expectations. So we enable people to look at the different roles in the organization, see what those responsibilities are, and we encourage them, if they're at 70, 80% or so of those things, to start considering making the case. And that way it's company-wide, not just individual. And there should be someone appointed that you can chat with about your career trajectory if for some reason you feel like your manager might not be the person to help you with those things. So person X, almost said your name, I hope that's helpful. I love the fact that you were willing to hit me up and ask me these questions. And as you know, as a SEER alum, always there for you anytime you have any questions about career, community, clients, coworkers, you name it. See ya.